Welcome to the Sold Too Early Sports Card Podcast, currently writing a children's book on the $1 trade-up challenge. That's not Kai. I'm an award-winning author. This is a little bit of a different episode. Welcome to episode 50 of the Sold Too Early Podcast. Kai is unavailable today. It happens. I completely understand. No big deal. We can cover this today. I can hold down the fort pretty poorly, but you're used to the below average performance of the Sold Too Early Podcast, so hey, you're right at home. If you hear a dog, I'm sorry. It's not mine. I wish it was. But these things happen. What are we going to talk about today? Well, it really depends. I mean, the main joke of today's episode, for everyone who is not aware or does not pay attention or frankly doesn't give a fuck about what other people are up to on social media, let me show you. This is kind of fun. I thought it was a joke. And it's not. It's a real thing. One person in the sports card world that I wouldn't say I'm a fan of. I think that's a really hot take. I know. How dare I say I don't like someone? Sports card investor, not a very good individual. You can make all the memes you want about him, all perfectly valid. Apparently, he's writing a book, or has written it. It really. This is so interesting because. As a collector, investor, whatever you want to call me, I'm a weird in between as individual. But the information in this book is most likely trash for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's print media. Print media is dead. And the second this book was written, as the pages were either jotted down on notebook paper or even written down on a computer, already out of date. That is the greatest thing about social media and the digital age that we're in 2023. That information already irrelevant. Does not matter, and you can find out the information on a YouTube video. We can go into that discussion as needed, but just standard information wise, already outdated. Yeah, the idea of you want to buy high and sell low. Oh shit, wait, that's not how that works. Well, I mean, it's for dummies. So actually they might think buy high, sell low is correct. I don't know. The point is, it's already outdated information, regardless of what is said. Because if they give any example, guess what? If there's anything related to comps and they use an example, already wrong. Because with the ability to check eBay and alt and PWCC and Golden, X, Y, and Z, if they said Joe Burrow card is a $500 card at the time of writing, hey, maybe it's now $450, maybe it's $400. Maybe this is so old, it's hit zero. Who knows? It's not going to be a timeless piece of content. It's going to be very dated. So it's going to be interesting to see how that ages out. And honestly, the main way to learn about sports cards is your own experience, or thankfully having individuals in your lives who have guided you. I didn't have that when I got into sports cards, especially as a business in 2015, 2016. I lost $5,000 on group breaks. Didn't know any fucking better. And when I started to look at it as, hey, how do I do this my own way? How do I make this something that is both a lot of fun and could make money? I figured it out on my own. And I have tried multiple times to bring real life friends, not card friends, actual human beings that I like as people who do not collect sports cards but like sports, into this industry and this hobby. I have been the one who thankfully could set the groundwork for them and make sure they didn't make the same mistakes I did. And some had success. Some did pretty well. No one has really stayed in this industry more than a couple months, maybe a year at a time. Some people will flake, some people come back in, others will just be like, hey, this isn't for me, and that's perfectly fine. But I can offer information that a fucking book couldn't. I've lived it, and now with 8 years, almost 9 years of experience actually in the business side of it, it's very valuable. So a book can only tell you so much. The connections you make with people in the real world do so much more. And part of this podcast now, as we are approaching a year, I mean, had we recorded it every single week, we would be at over a year on this podcast, which is absolutely fucking crazy. If you guys are still watching and listening, my God, incredible. And I'm sure we'll properly thank you and go through funny moments or whatever else we decide to do when it matters the most. But even this podcast itself, as it approaches a year, or just is over a year now, there is a lot of information that I have offered willingly and freely, and Kai has offered as well, that if you choose to listen, you may not win 100% of your deals, but you will lose less and you will win more often, generally, by following just common sense. That is the funniest thing about sports cards. There is no fucking common sense in any of this. And the more you think about it critically, the more you either win because you understand it more and you break the matrix and you see the world for what it is, or you lose less because you're not buying the shit that does not make sense logically. I love to make the joke about how Bowman Chrome is the dumbest fucking thing in the world, but we all play the game because, hey, financially, a 17-year-old Dominican kid or an 18-year-old random high school kid who got drafted in the first round will outsell Mookie Betts, will outsell Freddie Freeman, will outsell Mike Trout if you get the right parallel, let's say. There's no fucking logic to it. And I know why they do. The hype outsells production. No one's really talking about Freddie Freeman at the moment in time, even though, that he's good. But everyone's talking about this 19-year-old random kid in low A ball. It's like, well, that's, I guess, it's his best card, so I understand why you want to. But then when you go back 5 to 10 years later and you try and buy those person's items, for instance, I think a Pete Alonso gold Bowman Chrome auto to 50 PSA 9. It's an okay card. I would call it pretty good. If you're a Mets fan or you're a Pete Alonso guy, that's a pretty good card to own. You can buy a BGS 9510 on eBay right now for $1,500, $1,600. It's not cheap by any means. That's not a cheap card, but that is theoretically one of the better cards of him you could want to own. And had you been a prospector in 2016, 2017, whenever Alonso was a rookie, I'm actually going to double check because I'm going to be bothered by it without knowing exactly when Pete Alonso was in Bowman Chrome. 2016. Okay, so I was right there. And had you been buying Bowman Chrome boxes in 2016 and you had a gold auto, hey, you would have been happy. You might not have known if he was going to be as amazing as he ended up being, but you wouldn't have to own a gold auto. It's just a weird dynamic where timing truly is everything. Even people who this year were buying El De La Cruz, I looked at it and said, this is fucking stupid. You should be selling him. Like, he came up, he was explosive, and he's still an explosive player. But his prices have tanked because guess what? The way he was playing was not going to last. Also, I believe he doesn't walk at all. I think he has like a really bad on base percentage at the moment. I know the season's over at the time of recording, but I'm curious. Okay, so about 235 and a half range on base percentage. How many walks is that? He had 144 strikeouts and 35 walks. Yeah, dude, he is explosive as fuck. He runs incredibly hard. He throws really hard. That's not good. That is a, what is that? 380, 144, 388. That's a 37% strikeout rate. Holy fuck. That's bad. That is bad in the MLB world. But guess what? If you had sold him when the Reds were on like an insane winning streak, he hit for the cycle, and all this crazy stuff, you would have made a lot of money. Hell, you could still make money on El De La Cruz if you think he's going to be this incredible player who has 40-40 potential, because he does. He has 40-40 potential if he's able to cut down on strikeouts and, stay healthy and hit. Yeah, he could do it. He had fucking 35 stolen bases in 98 games this year and 13 home runs. So it could happen. But once again, could he? And if you did want to buy him, when would you? Would you sell at the right time? It's a really interesting dynamic. And I'm just using him as an example because, that stands out to me. He's also only 21 or 22, give or take. I don't have that information in front of me. So, once again, explosive player. If you sold at the right time, you fucking crush it. If you bought at the wrong time, you got crushed. And that's just the nature of what we do. And no, I'm not telling you to never buy the hot, flashy prospect, but I'm telling you to be aware of when to sell them. I have realized in my own experience, I actually really like Bowman Chrome to buy. I'm buying it right now if I get a chance to. I mean, I've bought some other stuff recently, trading and selling, whatever. But if I can get Bowman Chrome at a decent price these days, I'm personally buying it because I know that the end consumer is not me. I'm not going to hold that card for 10, 20 years. I don't give a fuck. I'll own it for a month or two, and either November Dallas, November Chicago, whatever the shows are before the end of the year I'm going to travel to, there might be someone who wants it there. And if they don't, that's perfectly fine, because guess what? Even though we know that December is going to be very slow for cards, because hey, oh my god, it's Christmas time and I don't want to play with sports cards. I want to hang out with my loved ones. What a crazy thought. Or New Year's, then the show cycle starts again. There's opportunity to sell baseball. There's a great chance to. And I will say this, people have gotten smarter. I like that. I like a smarter hobby, a smarter industry. To me, that makes it better because the consumer who actually is aware of what they're doing and why will probably stay longer. Someone who follows a sports card investor or an X, Y, and Z influencer who I don't want to name because it's not fair. Jeff gets a pass on getting fucking dunked on because it's honestly not even him. Anyone who buys that book is not an expert in sports cards. And you know what? I can't even make fun of you. You want to believe that you can learn something new, but you're not able to have the resources. I get why someone would buy that if they watch a content creator, maybe even a Jeff Wilson, and you want to be like, oh man, he's making so much fucking money. I want to learn that. And then you realize that you're being used. What was the point I was trying to make? I don't even remember. A lot of different information here, and this is what happens when Kai's not around. I just ramble. You have a lot of time to move baseball. You see someone who might not know about sports cards, and I understand why they want to buy a book like this. I get it, and you can make fun of him, you can tease him, but guess what? Even me talking about it, it's free publicity for something that I would never have even seen if people weren't talking about it. He's really actually, Jeff's a very talented marketer. He's knowing how to play into those who don't actually like him and get some viewership. And it's really interesting. I don't know what's going to happen next with that. I would have loved to, if I had just started in cards, I would love to know a resource. I mean, I would not go to print media. I'd probably go to YouTube, and he might have been one of the people I would have watched, but I didn't have that available to me. I did it my way. And good, bad, or otherwise, I would call my 9 years in sports cards so far a financial success. That, I may no longer have a sports card personal collection. I would call my PC now game worn jerseys and cool shit that just makes me happy to own it. And when I own cards that I'm happy to own for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever, even if it's inventory that I know I'm going to eventually flip and move, it's like, oh yeah, I own that. It's cool. I accomplished my goal of owning a cool piece, and I made money while doing it too. And to me, that's good enough. That's what I want, and that's my own aspirations. And as I have worked through that higher end world, there are individuals who come up who you can tell. You can tell when someone is trying to use you just for financial gain. I think we're all intelligent enough to understand that. I hope so. If you don't, I'm sorry. I don't know how else to describe it other than I feel bad for you. You will realize if you ever do step into the higher world. I'm not sure who listens to this podcast or who really engages with it and who feels something from it. But if you are a low-end collector, and there's nothing fucking wrong with that, let me make that clear. You can own $5 cards, you can own $5,000 cards. I'll give you the time of day if you're an actual human being who can have a real conversation. If you're just unable to talk to me and the alt comp says this, can you pay that? Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to work and be a fair dealer, vendor. But if you can only go to alt or card ladder or just are not able to have a conversation as a human being, we're not going to get along. And that's any person. Low-end collector, high-end collector, doesn't fucking matter. But I will say, though, if you are trying to be a high-end collector, high-end sports card dealer, the industry itself is very fucking high school girlish. And what I mean by that is high-end collectors generally actually do not even like each other. We will all try to use each other for financial gain. And I don't think anyone's willing to admit that. I don't think anyone's willing to be as honest about that as I am. I don't give a fuck. If you don't like me, I don't care. And it's very interesting that I say that because growing up, I only wanted acceptance. I wanted to be the cool. I want to be accepted by my peers. I wanted to fit in. I think it's a very normal thing. Now, at 27, I'm engaged. I've met the woman who I'm going to spend my life with. I have a great group of friends who I will hopefully have forever. I have reached my level of personal acceptance. I know what I am, good, bad, or otherwise, and I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. And that level of confidence has helped me grow my business. I don't fucking care if you like me, because I have something you want, you're going to find me. You're going to talk to me, and you're going to make a deal with me about it. And I'll never reach out to you. That's the funny thing. If you have that level of confidence in yourself, you don't give a fuck what anyone wants from you. You don't give a fuck what anyone else has. They have to reach out to you. I can't even name the last time I reached out to a dealer about something. They all reach out to me. So guess what? You don't have to like me. But if you want my item, you're going to reach out to me. And you're going to play nice. Once again, not good advice. But I can at least own what I am. A lot of people can't. And we are, especially in the high-end card world, very fucking catty. Very girly, very dramatic. You go on Instagram stories these days, it is the most sad and high school bullshitty world ever. There's so much unneeded drama in this world, in this sports card world. It makes us dumber. It makes us dumber. It turns everyone against each other. Who fucking cares? People just get so worked up about trading cards, and I used to be that way. In the last couple of years or so, I've realized it's just not. I don't care, and you know what? That's why I really stopped posting about people doing wrong things in sports cards, like Shy Away Vlogs. I want to make sure I get his Instagram name right before I comment on. I know he's technically walking away from sports cards, which is sad. Shy Away Vlogs. I don't know Shy super well. I'm not going to pretend like we're best friends, buddy, whatever like that. I do feel bad, though. Is it self-inflicted? Showing cards is bad, obviously. Sure. If you are leaving an industry or a business that you really love, if you lost your business partner, if you were previously an alcoholic who was in recovery, who had thoughts of relapsing, I feel bad for you as a human being. You can separate those thoughts out between the person and the entity that is running that Instagram page. I feel bad for the person, maybe not so much for the Instagram page, channel, whatever he wants to run. But as a person, I feel bad. Obviously, I think that's normal. I don't think anyone will get upset by that. But here's the interesting thing as well: if he had not reported that he was going to leave the sports card world, he probably would be fine. He would probably have to lay low for a little bit and probably be welcome back. I know he lost his partnership with Mark, Empire State Cards. I think it's Mark. Sorry if I'm getting it wrong. I know he lost his business partnership with him. That's obviously financially really bad. It seemed to be a growing business, and they continue to do well. And I wish Empire and Fund Your Cards the best of luck, because fuck it. Hey, once again, if you are giving the ability for people to own the card they really actually love, okay. I don't care. I'm happy for you. I hope you do well. It has literally no impact on me. I will never use the service. I'm not the target market for it. But obviously there's people who want to use it and they're doing well. Or Mark's doing well, I should say. So it's good. Good for you. Awesome. Just not for me. That's fine. I feel bad for him as a person. Obviously the situation is kind of bad. But I would be lying to you if I did not know people showing their own cards. Hell, I can tell you honestly, I have owned items, and now this is not bidding on my own item. Let me make that clear. I have owned items Let's say it's a Tom Brady Bowman Chrome auto. That doesn't make sense. Tom Brady 2000 Bowman Chrome, 9.5. Okay, I own one for, let's say, $4,000. If I see one at auction, I'll bid 3, because either then I get it closer to the number that I'm into the card for, or I win it and I'm like, oh, cool, my dollar cost average went from $4,000 to 3, or under 3, let's say. Okay, now I own the item. Like, it's not me bidding on my own item per se, but if it's a common card like a Tom Brady Bowman Chrome, okay, bid 3. Just dollar cost average. My cost is that shilling. I guess if I wasn't going to pay for it, I've never bid on an item and not intended to pay if I won. Not the same situation, obviously. But you would be lying to yourself, or most people would be lying to themselves, if they've never bid on an item that was similar to theirs, obviously with the intention of paying. But, hey, this is low right now. You make sure if I win, I'm happy to own it and pay for it. So, I don't know. Are people going to give me shit for that? Nah, I don't think so. That's not that bad. Or who it is, and I'll be canceled. And I'll be like, shucks, I can't wait for nothing to happen, because there's no justice in sports cards anyway, so who fucking cares? Yeah, no, I'm not telling you to be a piece of shit and scam and steal, but there's no justice. Who the fuck is the Instagram police? The sports card influencer cops are going to come to your house and break down the door? No, nothing's going to happen to you. It's all like people online who will not do anything in real life. It's just not going to happen to you. Like, that's the funny thing about this. We get so worked up about bullshit in sports cards, and there's no justice. Who cares? And that's, once again, not good. Not good. I'm not saying this is a positive thing, but I'm at least going to be real about it. And a lot of people won't. The high-end world is a bunch of high school girls. There's no justice in the industry, and people who do fucked up things probably are at the top of the industry because, hey, they are willing to do the things they have to do to achieve power or status, or both. I don't fucking know. I'll never know. Oops. Is that a positive thing to say? No. Is it right, though? Yeah, it is right. It is right. That's the shame of it all. I don't know, man. This is a weird time, and I've noted that a lot lately. That this is an interesting time in the sports card world. The people who are not willing to whistleblow is the wrong word. People who are not willing to be honest about the industry, who are just looking for financial gain, don't actually love it. They'll leave as soon as there's a recession. If there's a 30, 40, 50% drop off in sports card prices, they'll leave. They don't give a fuck. They don't love it. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Hell, dude, I would be, and I've said this before, I'd be 100% okay if everything went to zero. I'd be completely fucking fine with it. I'd be okay if it went to 2020 prices again. And Luka base presents were $2,000, silvers were like $7,000 or $8,000, and everything made no fucking sense because I'd be financially secure, hopefully forever. But I'm playing both sides, so I always come out on top. I don't fucking care, dude. I would love to see the sports card industry burn. I would also love to see it reach new highs. I win either way. I don't care. That's the funny thing. It does not matter to me. I would prefer it go to 2020 prices because financially makes more sense. Makes people make more money. If it went to zero though, I'd be okay with it too because fuck it. I would be interested to see what happens next. But I never put all my money into sports cards anyway, so it's irrelevant. But it would be interesting to see. Man, this is what happens when Kai leaves me alone. I say some bad things when Kai's not around because no one can keep me in check. And Kai's a good job. Kai does a very good job of keeping somewhat grounded in reality. Because hey, just like Kai, Kai somewhat does this full time. He's working with Joku a lot. Joku, by the way, one of the funniest people I know. Joku is objectively just fucking hilarious. We are working on a project with him. We announced it last week. Sold Too Late. It'll be like a monthly podcast where we just like kind of like this, throw the gloves off, like get through all the bullshit, and it'll be interesting to see what happens there. That'll be really inappropriate. Like, if you think that this level of real talk is too far, that's fine. We're gonna push it to 11 on Sold Too Late. They should tagline it as like the first NA17 sports car podcast. Like, what the fuck? What are these guys doing? Coke? It's like, no. But as I wipe my nose, they had let me not do that. That's a bad idea. Don't do drugs. Sports cards are basically a drug, though. And oh my god, how do I segue out of that? Jesus Christ. These are hard to do by yourself, especially when you're like me and you say what comes to mind. How am I going to wrap this back into Jeff Wilson and Find Me a Dummies book? Oh, shit. Strange times ahead, especially with a lack of major shows coming up in the next couple of weeks. I mean, we do have Dallas first week of November, and then Chicago third week of November, and then, Thanksgiving is kind of important. Probably not going to have any shows then, unless you just tell your kids and wife, hey, fuck off, I want to go play with sports cards and a bunch of dudes. Wait, not like that. Honey, please don't leave. Man. Weird time in all this industry. What happens next, though, well, I've been thinking about this for a while. I really believe the high end. So I don't play in the high end. I don't play in the high end of sports cards. For that, let's call it $25,000 and up. That's not my wheelhouse. That's not a lot of people's wheelhouses. That is a finite amount of collectors. But they are getting absolutely fucking crushed at auction on a Golden, a PWC scene, whatever domains, Heritage, whatever domains would have those ultra high end cards. They're getting crushed. Part of that is obviously the pool of people who own those items and who can afford those items is very, very small. But also they didn't get that money for free generally, so they're not going to just keep on wasting it on sports trading cards. And when you see stuff run at auction 5 or 6 times in a year, it's like, damn, dude, that shit's not even rare. It's just expensive. That's the funny thing about this too. There are truly rare cards that come up once every 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years at auction, and they show when they go off at auction. It's like, oh fuck, this is sick. Those collectors have been looking at that car for 20 years, 30 years. Will very much pay for that item. But how many LeBron James logos have you seen at auction? How many Kobe's? How many MJ's? How many Fleer 10 MJ's are at auction at any given time? 1 or 2? Papa's 330, 325, give or take. They're not rare. MJ Fleer 10s are not rare, at least proportionally when they're available. There generally seems to be one at every major auction house, at least in their premier auction. They're just expensive. Oh, that's cool. Another Fleer MJ. The Brady Championship Contenders auto has appeared at auction, I think, like 4 or 5 times this year. And it just keeps getting low. It might be 2 or 3. The point is, it comes up enough that you will see them. Maybe not the exact same grade, but there are a frequent amount of them at auction at any given time on generally a Golden. It's not rare. It's just expensive. And that's the interesting thing about this whole industry, is nothing actually feels rare. And I've used this analogy before, so I'm not gonna. I've said some bad things. When you have as many different resources available to you as cards, as high-end cards, it's like looking at a bunch of naughty websites and being like, oh yeah, I have my choice of anything under the sun. That's what it feels like when you're looking at high-end sports cards. Like, look at all these beautiful cards, women, guys, whatever you like, available to me. I can see whatever I want. It's not even that rare or expensive. It's not even that rare. It's just expensive. How the fuck? What the hell am I talking about, dude? Man. Kai, please come back. This is bad. This is a bad episode. I get in trouble for this one. Oh, man. But the analogy almost works too. You get the point across, but I censored it a little bit. But I've used that before. Man, the one thing is, too, this is a year of podcasting. I'm very fucking consistent on what I say. It's always bad. It's always terrible things to say, but at least I am consistent. Is that good enough for you? Nope, not good enough for me either. Canceled. Believe it or not, canceled. The lawyers will be at my house somehow in the next 4 minutes. Even though this podcast is not even live yet at the time of recording, they're already on their way. And I will be put in the trash. But probably, I'll be thrown out. I'm in the trash. That's completely reasonable. I don't really have anything else to say. This is a tough episode. I wish Kai was here for it, but Jeff Wilson's book is probably going to be a financial success because, of course, it's going to be high-end collectors are like high school girls, and the second you realize that, the funnier it honestly gets. Ultra high-end market keeps getting crushed, and what it really comes down to at the end of the day is your timing. Timing is everything in this industry, and I wish people could have learned from me or your peers, because we are wealth of knowledge, and I think most of us who are generally good people would share that information willingly and not make you pay $25 for a book. That's my thoughts on just a couple of things. Pretty consistent on what I think. If you guys enjoyed watching, listening, writing me bad messages on Instagram, which is reasonable, make sure you drop a comment or like below, and make sure you tell me at the next local show or regional or national show how much you think of a piece of shit I truly am. Probably get them out. I'll see you guys next week with something else probably inappropriate. Bye.